In this video, I'm going to show you how to add numbers using formulas to your spreadsheet. So to this point, you should have set up a spreadsheet or a income statement. We haven't added the formatting. That'll be in the third video. But we should have a basic format set up. We're following along page 116 to copy the formatting. So that means we would start with trucking fees earned, and we would want to go ahead and put that dollar amount in cell E6. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and drive the numbers using formulas rather than hard keying or typing in the numbers. If we typed in 121,000 in cell E6 right now, if that number ever changed, well then we'd have to make sure that we went in and fixed all of the changes manually. If we go ahead and use formulas to pull all of the data in through our instruction tab, well, if that original data changed on the instruction tab, all the changes would automatically flow through. So let me show you what that means. To add a formula, you start by putting an equal sign. That alerts Excel that there's a formula coming. Well, the data that we want to pull from is in the instructions tab. So let's go ahead and, using our mouse, go ahead and highlight the instructions tab. And you can see that the information we need, trucking fees earned, is in this trial balance, 121,000. So if you put your mouse over that cell and click on the mouse, it'll highlight that cell. See how it's flashing? That indicates that it's picked up 121,000 or cell D20 in our formula. Now all you have to do is hit enter. And that goes ahead and brings that, not that dollar amount, but that cell into our income statement. Okay, if I place my mouse cursor back over cell E6, you can see in the cell bar up above that it says equals instructions D20. What that means is it's pulling from the instructions tab, cell D20. Now if I went back to that instructions tab and changed trucking fees earned to 130,000, that change would automatically flow into this statement. Now I need to do the same thing with all four expenses here. So I'm just going to hit equals. That starts the formula process. Move over to the instructions tab. Put my cursor over the expense that I want and hit enter. And then I can just keep doing that. If at any point you hit equals and you start picking up wrong data or an area and you just really don't know what to do, all you need to do is hit escape. Okay. Alternatively, if you hit equals and you started grabbing some data that you didn't really want, if you hit enter, it might give you an error sign. Just go ahead and go back into that cell and hit delete. So let's continue on. We're going to go ahead and hit equals, go over to the instructions tab, select C22 because that's our salaries expense, and hit enter. Now in office supplies expense, cell D10, we hit equals, go over to instructions, pick up the office supplies expense, see how it's highlighted, hit enter. Last one, hit equals, go over to instructions, go down to repairs expense, highlight that cell, it's flashing now, hit enter. So now I have all four expenses. Now what I need to do is total my expenses. Now I'm going to show you another neat function in Excel. So we can have all of these numbers be formula driven. The revenues and expenses are formula driven in the sense that they're just grabbed from the instruction tab. However, total expenses is a sum. In order to get that to automatically sum for us, we could go ahead and up at the top here you see your different tabs. Go to the formulas tab. And in the formulas tab, there's this sum feature. It's called auto sum. That will automatically sum the numbers for you. So if you press on that button, it highlights what numbers it thinks you want and you hit enter. I wanted to show this to you in a simple form, but I want to go back and delete this because if we're following the formatting on page 116, we actually want the total expenses to appear in column E, not in D. So I can go ahead and do the same thing. I place my cursor where I want this sum to be. I go up to the auto sum, hit the auto sum button. Now it's grabbing the wrong data, and that's okay. What we want to do is we just want to take our cursor, go to the first expense, hold the the left button down and drag until we've highlighted all the cells that we want it to add. Okay, now that we've got all 4 cells highlighted, we can hit the enter button, and that gives us our total expenses. Now, last but not least, we want to go ahead and calculate net income. Net income is revenues minus expenses. There's not a shortcut key for this. We just need to go ahead and manually input a formula. So we can start with an equal sign. That indicates that a formula is coming. Now we need to take our total revenues. So we take the cell E6, which shows us total revenues. Okay, minus, so hit the minus key on your keypad, and then drag over total expenses. So just put your mouse over total expenses. That highlights total expenses, and we can hit enter here. Okay, so see how easy it is to manually create a formula. And you could manually create all sorts of formulas just by hitting that equal sign, drag your mouse over to what you want to pick up, equals this cell plus this cell, or equals this cell minus this cell, and you could create a very long formula using that just simple manual process. Okay, so here we have created a bunch of numbers. They're all formula driven, so that if anything in the original data in the instructions tab changes, that change will flow through our complete income statement. What you'd want to do next is set up a statement of retained earnings and a balance sheet that do the same thing. They grab formulas, not hard-keyed or input data. Okay, when I talk about hard-key data, it means we don't want to go in and type the data again. So when you create your statement of retained earnings, you would just go down to the sheet, double-click on it, type in retained earnings. Oops. You would want to go ahead and create your retained earnings statement, and then using formulas, pull beginning retained earnings from the instructions tab, add in net income by pulling that net income number from the income statement, minus dividends. Dividends again are coming from instructions, and then you would use a formula to compute ending retained earnings. When you wanted to add a balance sheet, you'd do the same thing. It's just that you'd have to go to this little worksheet with a star on it and add a new worksheet. So at this point, we've gotten our complete income statement. The next video will walk you through the final formatting.